out of the agents that I'm talking to, um, I'm starting to notice lots of them saying that they are looking for an office, like they want the office.
Hmm.
And when I ask them like why, usually I hear three reasons why they want the office.
They kind of
One
boil
is,
down into these 3 points.
yeah, it boils
Hmm.
down into these three. And one of them is basically speed to problem solving. And so when
Okay.
I'm in an office, I can see my broker,
Hmm.
and anytime I have a problem, business problem, client issue, so I'm dealing with something in escrow that I've never seen before, I can literally just go knock on his door and I can always see him. He's always going to be there, him or her. So I
Hmm.
can just go knock on the door and ask them the question or whatever may have you, or schedule something with them. That's number one. So speed to problem solving. Number two is like, yeah, like, I think a lot of people, like, especially coming out of COVID, brag about that. Man, I just want to work from home. I could just wake up and do my stuff in bed or whatever it is. But what comes with that is also distractions.
Hmm.
And so I notice a lot of real estate agents saying that, like, I want an office just to go focus.
Okay.
I want to just be able to work, have a place to work without, knowing that the option of just walking, 10 steps and getting some food is there, or having the dog bark, or have the kids distract me, or whatever it is. I need to go somewhere else and change my environment and in order to enable me to focus more.
Sure.
And so that's the second one. And then the third one is kind of like a human nature thing, in my opinion, which is, humans are social animals.
Yeah.
And so they want to be around the office. And I hear this often from real estate agents. I just want to be around the group. I want to be around, regardless if it's producers or not. Ideally, you want to be around producers who are, at a different level than you. So you can, get on that level, kind of like birds of a feather flock together. But I just want to be around people just because I'm a social animal. I'm a
Yeah.
human. And so like that camaraderie, that culture aspect of an office where I can go there, there's other agents there, I can chat it up with them, see how they're doing, all that good stuff. Those are the three reasons that I'm seeing, just from my research, talking to real estate agents online, talking to actual real estate agents within EXP. And and so basically, yeah, I say all this to say, what is the solution? What's the solution to that type of real estate agent? What's the solution for them? What's the solution that EXP provides to help that type of real estate agent experiencing those three things? And they're coming to the conclusion of, well, I need a brick and mortar office.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll preface this by saying that everyone's specific circumstances could have some nuance and some differences. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no one size fits solution for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That'll never be the case. And there is a behind for every seat, as one of my colleagues once told me. And I thought it was a really great analogy. But let's kind of dive into each of these. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with you and I, Cameron, can drive down the road right now and go find any real estate office. And today is Friday. As we're recording this, it's 1:02 p.m. on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, we can go drive to 4 or 5 real estate brokerages, big ones, small ones, right now. And I guarantee you, there is less than 10% of the agents actually in that office. Okay. Right, wrong,
Yeah.
whatever. Most real estate offices, big brokerages that I talk to now, teams, independents, one of their biggest complaints on the leadership side is number one, they have this big, beautiful office, and that's part of their attraction, and no one shows up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, they do everything that they can to add value with the training, the different speakers to come in, all the things that the agents say that they want in their meetings, and then their attendance is still low.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as agents say they want an office, a lot of agents aren't willing to go into the office. And I'm not even suggesting that they should, okay? But I'm just stating what it's really interesting, like when you talk to an agent and like, I need an office versus the leadership of probably their same brokerage, and they're like, I have this office and no one comes into it. It's so much more than an agent actually needing an office, because if they needed an office and wanted one that much, they'd be there, and they're not. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not suggesting that they should. I think what agents are looking for is a couple of things. Number one, we started with that speed to help, and that's a really stellar perspective as to why an agent would want that proximity to their broker. Like, I could see
Mm-hmm.
them, they're 2 offices away, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
because they want that level of support, that immediacy to
Mm-hmm.
solving their problem, whatever it might be. Now, there's a whole other conversation to be had about what's important versus what's urgent, but
Mm-hmm.
that's mainly for the leadership to figure out. Okay. We don't want to put agents in a position where if they don't get every single question that they ever had run through their mind answered immediately, then they stop. Sometimes agents need that figure it outism. Okay. That's an important skill set to have. But what we've done here at the Alliance, because we are cloud based, all right, we don't have an office. And even if we did have 50 offices, we have agents in multiple states, multiple countries at this point. So there's no way that we could get everyone together anyway. All right. So let's
Mm-hmm.
just be
Mm-hmm.
clear about our dynamic.
Yeah.
What we've done, though, to make sure that we can still accommodate that ability to have an agent not only have high level support, but have it as soon as possible, is we have over 20 coaches that are there to support our agents in different capacities, not only with masterminds they can plug into literally every single day of the week, but they know who their local leadership is. And now they're able to just pick up the phone and call. Now,
Mm-hmm.
most of us coaches are actively producing and high producing real estate agents as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does that mean? Am I available 24/7 for a phone call? No. I might be at a listing appointment or showing properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's why there are layers of support. So, what we've been able to do is make sure that our agents know that there are multiple people that they can reach out to. It's unlikely they need to reach out to, more than 3 of us to find someone who's available and ready to dive in and help them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first layer of support.
Yeah.
Then we have a larger layer of support, which is, more of our agents in kind of like a more of a community setting. And then we have our designated managing brokers. So again, there are several layers of support for our agents depending on what they need. But we always tell them come to the most intimate option first. That's usually us local leaders. They need
Mm-hmm.
something, pick up the phone, shoot me a text message. Man, if I'm even on a Zoom message, and sometimes we do this, Cameron, and I'm responding to an agent in real time,
Mm-hmm.
that's because I take very seriously my ability to offer agents that level of support. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes just these little tiny questions that they have that could hinder their ability to just keep moving forward in that day. A simple
Mm-hmm.
answer to that question keeps them rocking. The best news is that what differentiates us from a traditional office is there's more than 20 of us that can work with that agent at the drop of a dime.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a real estate office with even, the largest in mind that have the sheer number of leaders that we do to help an agent. So you might not be able to see me, but there's more than 20 of us. You'll find one of us in real time to help you right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's the way that we've overcome that perspective of having an office. The next one I would
Yeah.
say is really interesting because, well, I'd say the next two. The next two that you mentioned almost contradict one another.
Mm.
The first one is no distractions. And again, there are some dynamics for people set up at home, whether or not they have a private space. Maybe there is other distractions that they have no control over, like noise or something like that. So this
Mm-hmm.
isn't true for everybody, but it's true for a lot. It's really easy to be in an environment and allow the environment to control you than to have you take control of that environment.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of a human trait. It's so much easier to place blame everywhere else other than looking at how can I take responsibility and create change. So I'd rather, as a human being, say it's everyone and everything else's fault, not mine, right? So sometimes when they're looking to eliminate distractions, that same type of distraction that's causing them to not focus
Mm-hmm.
is the same type of distractions they're going to find in an office to not focus there either.
Yes.
So, what might be the differentiator? Well, at least I'm being unfocused with other agents. And if these other agents are being unfocused, well, then I guess it's okay for me to do so as well.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not always true, but that a lot of times there's a reason there's a contradiction there. What we've
Yes.
done at the Alliance here is we have set up just an incredible amount of culture, community, and collaboration within our group that I think is unparalleled.
Right.
So again, we have over 20 coaches. Not only are they specialized in helping an agent along the trajectory of their career path, but also how to help these agents niche down in very specific approaches to generating business. And what that allows us to do is to have, as a big, massive group, we're over 800 agents now, right? But as
Hmm.
a big, massive group, have these really localized, specialized, and very focused groups of agents within that have the same vision in mind. They have the same goal that they're chasing after, and they're all building similar skill sets because their approach is the same. And they become very highly connected. I think what agents are mainly looking for, instead of just put me in an office so I don't get distracted by the refrigerator, although then they're like, well, I'm a social person. I want to be around other people. Well, those two things contradict one another. The way that
Hmm.
we've set it up, people are able to plug in virtually. A lot of it's going to be on Zoom and some of our other resources that we have, like a Meta Office.
Right.
But again, people are plugging in for very specific reasons with people who are serious. So
Hmm.
what it does is it allows an agent to plug in, see a community of agents that are on the path that they want to be on, helps them to immediately focus. And then there is a high sense of accountability there. No one's beating each other over the head. But if you have several other agents that are focused like you and are hungry to pursue a goal in mind, that alone, just showing up to that group consistently, fosters accountability. These are the ways in which we've created virtual spaces, if you will, but still have a high level of culture, a high level of focus, and a whole lot of camaraderie and collaboration that I think can beat any actual office out there in the world.
Yep.
Because I don't traditionally see these kind of focus groups developing in an office. I see more of social groups developing in an
Mm.
office.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
yeah, there is some validity to that. We all want to have that human connection. We all want to have, that ability to, just feel like we are a part of something beyond ourselves. But you can get that in a very focused environment as well.
Yep.
Okay. So that's one of the things that we do dramatically different. And then to offset when an agent's like, but I'm social, I want to be around people, I want to laugh with people. Great. Let's go do that in a way, though, that's actually building your business, not taking away from your business.
Mhm.
If you are having that human connection inside of an office with other real estate agents, when's the last time an agent's been in the office, rubbing shoulders with other agents, feeling that connection and getting business from them? Like,
Mhm.
when does that ever happen? Hey, I'm a residential realtor like you are. I've got a deal for you. Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, the only sorry to interrupt.
No, please.
I was gonna say the only time I've actually experienced that when I used to be a real estate agent, and this was something that I thought it was really cool that the office did that I was at was I believe they called it dialing for dollars,
Hmm.
where they
Hmm.
brought all the agents to that 2 hour session.
Sure.
Everybody's on the phone,
Hmm.
and that's a solution to
Yeah. How often did
yeah,
they do that?
focus. Yeah, it wasn't often.
Okay.
And it's interesting because they told all the agents in the office, and just like this office was, had hundreds of agents in it. And
Yeah.
usually the times that they had it, there was probably about like 4 or 5 agents that would show up to it,
Yeah.
if that.
What Think about this, Cameron. Like, for
Mhm.
some agents, based on their specific approach to building the business,
Mhm.
it makes sense for them to have that call session once a week.
Mhm.
For other agents, it makes sense for them to have that call session every single day.
Mhm.
What if you, as an agent, could plug into a lead huddle every single morning at 7:30 a.m. to help you get your mind right, get focused on the task at hand, and then to have everyone go and perform that function? So you're still in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself anymore.
Yeah.
That's one coach and one daily huddle that we have in our alliance group. And
Hmm.
it's for people to plug into as frequently as it makes sense for their prospecting.
Hmm.
Again, if this is someone who's cold calling for sale by owners, they probably want to be there every single day, right? To make sure that they're uh, doing it on the pace and consistency that makes sense for them to get business. If it's someone circle prospecting and they only need to do it once a week because that's part of their business model, it's there every single day. So you plug in when it makes sense for your prospecting approach.
Hmm.
But there again, you could do it once a month. I don't think that's consistent enough, but that's the difference when we have this many coaches, right? Versus one office. I understand how difficult it is as a leader. And I want agents to understand this, okay? Because I don't want to sound like I'm being negative against other real estate leaders out there, broker owners, sales managers, whatever it is.
Hmm.
When someone's running a real estate company, they're everything from the janitor to the CEO. They are focused on risk management. And then they're also focused on how do I train my agents the most cutting edge information that they're begging for. And then I got to make sure that, the paperwork is all dialed in. And then I got to make sure that, someone comes and cleans this office because it hasn't been cleaned in a few days. There is so much on someone's plate, and I understand. So even with a small set of staff, it's very difficult to have that high level of focused training, highest skilled training, the best and most consistent leadership because there's so many hats to wear. That's where the alliance is extremely special. The platform in which we run the alliance on takes a lot of that off of our plate. We don't have to worry about compliance, risk management, all of those things that really take away the focus from the agent support. So we get to focus on that support, that focused training, and how do we plug agents into the specific things that as coaches we're doing to build our business
Hmm.
so we can build their businesses right along with them in real time.
Yeah.
So that's where we have a very unique advantage. It's not to shame or knock anyone at all. It's just that we're really lucky in which how we built the alliance and what platform we built it on, because it
Yeah.
allows us to be hyper focused on the specific ways that we're going to grow an agent.
Yeah. Is there something to be said about wanting to f- physically be around other people who are striving for like what I'm striving for, like people who have like goals like me? Not in a well, yeah, I would say there's like a social aspect to it,
Mhm.
but then there's also a like professional, like let's take care of business aspect to it. So wait, so first question is like, do you see not only agents but just professionals of all kinds wanting that? And then two, like, is there something to be said about like, because I feel like I don't have the vocabulary to really put my finger on it, but that, you know, connection physically with somebody,
Yeah.
like not virtually. Like, do you think that that's true that we, as humans need an actual like physical connection, like shaking hands and looking at somebody eye to eye with them in reality?
I think that as maybe as a species, we've elevated since COVID out
Hmm.
of, necessity.
Hmm.
I don't think that that's legitimately as true as it once was.
Mm.
The other thing that I will say is this: when people really are genuinely focused on one offing or having that collaboration with people to help them level up,
Hmm.
what's more likely that you're going to have more frequent and more diverse opportunity to engage with leaders on a local level because now you're geographically constrained?
Hmm.
Or is it possible to open up the universe of coaches and leadership and people who have different strategies to still connect with you one off when you eliminate geography?
Yes.
I don't want to just learn from the best in Southern California. I want to learn from the best of Southern California, but I don't want to just learn from them. I want to
Right.
learn the best from New York and the best from Tennessee and the best from Florida and the best from Mexico. And when you run your business on a platform that is virtual, that's what it opens up for you. Now, the human connection part. Do I think that I will be fulfilled sitting in this office all day long and one-offing with people? I don't think that I would be like completely depressed, but yes, it would not serve the same purpose as going out there and being in front of people and having a laugh and, being able to engage with them beyond just the screen in
Mm-hmm.
3D, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what makes more sense? Going and do that with a bunch of agents and your broker, or going and do that with social circles that can actually build you business?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to demonstrate or continue to build business, even if it's with agents, go do it with all the agents in your local market. It doesn't have to be at your office.
Mm-hmm.
Be agnostic. If you really want to be a leader or you really want to be a connector of people, go do it in a way that's far more meaningful than just showing up in the office and talking to some folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Set up a happy hour with agents. If you really want a mastermind, be that change. Go and create that. What can
Yeah.
that do for an agent? Well, I think a lot of agents know that when they have familiarity with all the agents in their office, can be super helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a buyer and they have a listing and you're like, oh man, it's someone in my office and we happen to know each other. Like I might have a little bit of a leg up here because that agent knows that I'm good at what I do. Okay. But what if you had that kind of connection with every agent in your marketplace because you were intentional about building those relationships and satisfying your need for human connection with other agents?
Yeah.
Get out of the office, get into the world.
I
That's
like
also
that.
true of
That's
clients. If you're hanging out in the office 24/7, I promise you, you're not being as productive as the agents that are out there in the field, far more significantly than the agents in the office.
and there's so many different niches out there. I mean, from being included in any sort of like athletic things, right?
Sure.
Triathlons, the biking, stuff like that, to like being like, I know a lot of guys that are car enthusiasts, going to all those
Mhm.
car shows and stuff like that, which is very, it's a very interesting alternative to the office.
I mean, it is the far superior alternative.
Hmm.
These are people you can build relationships that will help to elevate your career. And it's
Yep.
not to say that other agents and collaborating with them can't help you. Obviously, you can learn from them, hold each other accountable. There's a lot of goodness there. But if there's a lot of relationships that will benefit you far more, it's deepening the relationships or building new ones with the people who are not licensed agents, because when they want to buy or sell or refer an agent to, that can be you.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I will
I,
also say this. When I finished high school, my path was junior college before 4-year university. Okay. And I remember the first month in junior college for me was a little striking in that I
mm,
found a lot of people from high school were there, which was awesome. And then their motivations were significantly different than mine.
mhm,
They were there because they were hiding from mom and dad to ship them off to go get a job. I say
mm,
that because there are many circumstances in my past at other offices, other brokerages, where there were a lot of agents in there that were hiding from going out there and being out there in the field to create business. That's the
mm,
safe space, but it's the safe space that doesn't feel as bad as sitting on the couch. Well, at least I went
mm,
to the office today. I don't care where you are. Productivity is productivity. You're either doing it or you're not. And sometimes agents just want that one extra layer of shelter, even from themselves, when it comes to, yeah, I really didn't do what I was supposed to do, but I went to the office. Not
mm,
suggesting that's a lot of them, but those are some.
mhm,
If that's you, an office is not going to help you boost your business. It's going to help you feel better. And my question to you is this: do you want to feel better or do you want to be better?
mhm,
Because feel better, fine. Go accomplish your goal and feel better. No problem. If you want to be better, then you're going to have to address more of the root issue. And hey, here's the good news. There's no judgment behind that statement. That's one of the things that we do here at the Alliance as well, is help agents get out of their own way or deal with some of the internal things that hold them back. You know,
Hmm.
we're really big believers in personal development and personal growth. And, that takes a lot of looking in the mirror and asking ourselves tough questions with a leader who can help you start to address those things without beating yourself up over it either, right?
Right.
Because if you're
Right.
kicking yourself around because of dealing with the truth, that usually isn't going to put you in a good place to start moving forward from it.
Yeah.
So that's an important aspect that I think a lot of agents need to have a little mirror time and figure out, what really is my purpose for wanting an office exactly?
Right. Exactly.
Because what I would argue is, if there are legitimate reasons why you think an office can support you with some very small changes in how you get what you're looking for, you'll have 10 times more of what you want in a virtual environment.
Yep.
At least that's true here at the
It's,
Alliance.
yeah. I do think that it's a more, I want to say, an efficient way to get what they really want that doesn't come from the office. Oh, it
Sure.
does, but like I said, it's a more efficient way to get what they really want.
Yep. Hey,
And
what
so
what
yeah,
sounds better to you, Cameron? Like, hey, listen, we're gonna have our listing presentation training next Thursday at 10 a.m. You have to be in the office.
mhm,
Okay. And let's say the office is 30 minutes away, 20 minutes away, no problem.
mhm,
You're gonna have to get there. So add on 20, 30 minutes. You're gonna have to make sure you're ready, but we're gonna shave off that time. So let's say it's an hour and a half, the office meeting, and then there's a little bit of chit chat and whatnot. You're there for 2 total hours and you drive home. Okay.
mhm,
We're talking 2 hours and 40 minutes
yeah,
in a virtual environment where people are legitimately adding value in a way that you can absorb it, get the most from it. Oh, by the way, it can be recorded, watched again later. Even if you can't show up, it's something that you can go and still enjoy and leverage. But let's say you're able to show up, but you're driving to a listing appointment or you're driving to something that's going to allow you to be productive. You don't
mhm,
have to be sitting in a room like this looking at a computer screen. We can give you just as much, if not more value than an office from this thing right here while
mhm,
you're driving.
yeah,
So that's where it takes productivity and it's a multiplier. You're still getting what you want, you're still getting value, but it is no longer limiting you and holding you back from being productive and leveraging your time to the most optimized calendar.
yeah. Which is what they really want. That's
That's
what
what
you
they
really want.
really That's what any business owner, when they're focused on actual production, really wants. Is that
Yep.
what they really want when they're facing their internal fears, when they're unsure of what to say, when they're not even clear what their business plan is, or they're just afraid of rejection? Probably not, because that means you're going to go face more often what you are concerned about or afraid of. But
Yeah. Yeah.
for any real estate agent, for any salesperson, and for most business owners, um, go get your butt kicked and go face that fear as frequently and as fast as you can,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that'll go away.
Yeah. To sum it up, like I was just like taking notes while you were talking. It sounds like when a real estate agent says they they like need an office. I need an
Mhm,
office to go to. I think what they're really saying is one of or all of these four. I want to solve my problems quickly. I want to I want to basically train. I want to improve my skills on demand, like on my schedule.
mhm,
I want to be able to focus, no distractions. I want to be able to collaborate with producers who are better than me or or real estate agents who are striving to be producers like me. And then lastly, I want to socialize with people. It seems like those are the 4 to 5 things that they're really saying when they're like, I want an office.
yeah.
Yeah.
And let's kind of talk about a couple of these that are adjacent, because you just mentioned them.
Hmm.
I'm going to share with you that My problem at one point in my career, working from home, was that I never stopped working.
Mm,
So here's what I learned. Now, this is the other side of the extremity, okay? And
yeah.
this is why I know I can help people. I'm not saying to come to the other side of the extreme, but we can help you work at home.
Hmm.
What happened for me was I made my entire home essentially, or my entire living space, I should say, be my work environment in my mind.
Mm,
When I was in my living space, living room, kitchen table, I switched into work mode
hmm.
and I never came out of it.
Mm,
When I went to bed and rested and it was fine. But every day, as soon as I went into the kitchen, it triggered me back into work mode. So there was a time in my career where I was nonstop. And it was fine. It was before we had little ones. We were good. But when I started to have kids, I started to recognize, you know what? I need to keep my ability to flip into work zone or work mode. And this is
mm,
what I think a lot of people don't realize they have control over when they walk into an office, their brokerage office. They're like, okay, now I'm at work. It's time to get to work. And let's just say they're the ones who are productive. Awesome. They show up to
yeah.
the office in their mind, in their body. They're like, okay, now I'm working. Why the heck can't you create that anywhere? Why can't you create that in your
Yeah.
car? I'm lucky enough, I have a full bedroom. When I walk into this room, I'm working.
Hmm.
Everything about me shifts to focus, intention. I'm getting things done. I have an agenda in mind. I have a calendar I need to abide by, and I'm after it. Okay. The good news is, and this is where I was able to get smarter, when I leave this room, I'm home
Mm,
that quickly. And here's the real fun part, Cameron. Sometimes I work late. I'm sure other agents do too, right? If we're productive,
mhm.
man, we're grinding. But here's the difference. When my kids come home from school, I get to walk out of this door and be home, greet them, have 5, 15 minutes with them, then walk back into my office and be back at work.
Mhm.
Having a space in your home or just having the ability in your mind to create an environment because you've decided this is where I work can change anyone's life, especially a real estate agent's life,
Yeah.
because then you're able to turn it on and turn it off when it makes sense for you. Again, I
Yeah.
was that other extremity. And let's talk a little bit about focus too,
Mhm.
because I think there are legitimate ways in which people can build their skill set of focus. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
One, I think having a clear intention and commitment around that intention is where we begin. And there's not a
Mhm.
lot of people who know how to do that. Number two, if you need help focusing, try very short but very consistent meditation. The best way someone taught me to build my ability to focus was to close my eyes and try not to have any thoughts. And man, if no one's ever tried that, it's much harder than it sounds.
Mhm.
Okay. Like when you close your eyes and like be in a comfortable position and just focus on your breath and then try to have no thought, all the thoughts come. Okay. But if
Mhm.
you can start to clear your mind and have no thought for very short spurts of time, you're building the brain's ability to focus, even if it's on
Mhm.
nothing. Okay.
Mhm.
And then again, that third one is how can I create a calendar or a schedule for myself based on the clear intentions and the commitments around them where I know I can perform. Because if you have trust in your business plan, it's far easier to focus. Here's what I mean. If you know that calling for sale by owners every day is going to lead you to the results, it's just a numbers game, then it's far easier to sit in that 2 hour session and get the job done
Mhm.
versus someone who doesn't have that as a legitimate plan. They don't have the calendar built out to hit the sheer number of calls that they need to make, to have the number of contacts, to have the number of appointments that'll lead to the number of listings or buyers. They're just doing it. It's
Mhm.
real hard to sit in a 2-hour session if someone hangs up on you.
Yeah.
And then it's on to the next thing. And then it's, let me try this. And that is a very serious challenge in our industry. And it has everything to do with focus. So that's
Mhm.
why I said the intention, that's part of your business model, your business plan with some commitment around it. Practice meditating so that you can have a better ability to focus, and then do a proper time block so that you know the activities that you're doing line up with you hitting your goals. And if you can trust that, then you can focus.
Mhm.
Where in that do you need an office? The
That's
answer is you don't. But maybe you need some coaches that can help you with that along the way. And that's what we've created here at the Alliance.
I think it's very interesting when real estate agents say they need an office, because when you start to unpack that, you realize that these elements, and I think what they're really saying, like, because I think all of these elements put together, and I think you're right, like every single real estate agent is not going to need all of them,
Mhm.
because they know how they've solved some of these in different ways. Um, but I think a good office has all of these.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so now they have to define that too. So now they have to go find an office. They have to go start interviewing brokerages to figure out, like, okay, like, where can I solve? Like, first of all, what's the actual problem here? Like, um, if I'm a real estate agent where there are lots of distractions at home, there's kids, there's the dog, there's whatever it is. And the main reason why I need an office is because I just want to get there, knock out work, and then go back home. And so just a place to focus.
Mhm.
You then start to look for all the different solutions for that. And so, like, and you mentioned a couple of them, and it's like, wait a second, do you have a room at home that you can dedicate to your office so you can turn on and off
Mhm.
your work mode? If not, what's the next best solution? Well, and I think another great thing that I'm surprised that, and maybe you could talk about it, but I was going to say, I'm surprised that you didn't go into this a lot. If that's if that's your main goal, is finding somewhere to focus, the what I find surprising, like, amazing, is your guys' $84 a month fee, that tech fee that you guys
Mhm.
pay for.
Mhm.
It comes with the access to Regis, which
Yep.
is knocking out two of the things that they're actually looking for, which is the ability to focus. You're going there, and not only that, the ability to focus with other professionals around you.
Bingo. That dynamic is a best of both worlds. The other superior part of having that executive membership to Regis is that now I don't just have one office. I don't have the one that's 20 minutes away. I've got the one that's 5 minutes away, 2 hours away, 8 states away, in another country. I have access to all of them. Think about this as a realtor. When you're talking to a for sale by owner, and let's just say I'm in Rancho Cucamonga and I happen to be on the phone with someone in Corona,
Hmm.
okay, different cities. They're like, well, I really wanted a local agent, right?
Hmm.
That's a common thing that someone might hear. I'm really looking for someone really local. What do you do business in Corona? How easy would it be to be like, well, I have an office there. Why don't we do
Hmm.
this? Let's set the appointment and you meet me in my office so that way you can see.
Hmm.
Now, maybe my main office is in Rancho Cucamonga because it's closest to home. But when you have an executive membership to Regis, you have offices all over the state, the country, the world. So
Hmm.
no longer can someone try to shut you down with, oh, you're not close enough. I had
Hmm.
another agent friend of mine, another one of our coaches, who blew the socks off of somebody when he was listing this person's home in Riverside, but the guy worked in Irvine and they needed to get together to kind of solidify the listing. And he goes, well, I have an office in Irvine. Why don't we just meet there? The guy was so extremely blown away that it absolutely won that listing for him. Because in
Hmm.
that consumer's mind, it's like, this guy's the real deal. Multiple
Hmm.
offices. Whew, I'm
Hmm.
blown away. Whether it's working out of a Regis or a WeWork or any kind of shared as you come and go office environment where there's other industries, other professionals, or whether it's just showing up at a Starbucks or a local coffee shop to get some work done. One of the
Mhm.
things that I've done is I've taken my laptop and I created a skin on it just to help drive conversation.
Mm.
There it is. So I could
Mhm.
just be doing my thing. And now people know, oh, that guy's a realtor
Mhm.
amongst all the other attorneys that are in there or whoever those other professionals are, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just little tricks like that. Again, am I going to do this if I'm going to go use this laptop in a real estate office?
Mm-mm.
I'm intentional about making sure that I'm set up so that I can go work in front of other people who are not real estate agents. Not that I
Mhm.
hate my agents, I love them. But if I'm going to go out there and try and be social with people, face to face, I would rather it be a consumer.
Yeah.
I'm going to say one other thing that I wouldn't say we missed, but I think it boils down, but I think a lot of agents would resonate with how we're going to position this one. They want an office because they want to be motivated by other agents. Well, it
Mhm.
motivates me. When I see other people working and I see the hustle bustle, I get motivated. Okay, let's start this dialogue with the clear understanding that there is a difference between motivation and inspiration. Okay. Motivation is external factors trying to spark an emotion for you. Motivation tends to be short lived. Motivation's great, and then motivation can be detrimental if we're chasing it. Inspiration comes from within. You don't need outside factors to be inspired. You need to go drill further down inward to have
Mhm.
inspiration. Okay. Both can
Yeah.
be great though. Don't get me wrong. Like I focus on inspiration, but hey, I love me some motivation sometimes. It helps. Why not? I'll
Mhm.
take it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
The challenge is a lot of people who are chasing constant motivation. It's because they don't have either the skill set or have taken the time to build their inspiration. We can help
Mm.
them with that. I want people to be able to have both. But if you're out there in the world chasing external factors to drive you to get the job done, I just don't love that for an agent because now you're relying on other people for your income, essentially.
Mhm.
I would much rather help that agent look within so that they don't need anyone or anything to show up the next day early and do what they have to do to accomplish their goal.
Mhm.
So when a lot of agents say, well, I love the office because it helps to motivate me. Little bit of a red flag goes off for me. Obviously, I'll clarify, but I really think that most agents, if they didn't have to rely on the outside world to provide them to get work done or provide them the motivation, I think they
Mhm.
would prefer that. I
Yeah.
think they would love to rely on themselves and their internal motivation to drive them.
I know it's true for myself.
Mhm.
Like there's a difference, and I'm actually experiencing this right now, Joseph. It's not a real estate example, but it's more of a working out example.
Mhm.
When I was working out with, I had a really good friend of mine, and I was working out with him, and he was actually a trainer, and it was intentional that I made him my friend. But when I was working out with him, I was in the best shape I was ever in, and it was because when he said he was going to the gym, like I wanted to go to the gym.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Oh, I go every single day at 5." And every
Mhm.
single day he was there at 5. And if he
Love it.
wasn't, he would tell me like, "Oh, I'm not going to be there today because of whatever." And I'm like, "All right, cool." But I would still go.
Mhm.
And so and then when we worked out together, like we like pushed each other.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
so yeah, and so we would, I mean that gym talk that you do to your friends when you're in the gym of like pushing them to do, you see them struggling on that last one and you're just
Yep.
giving them that extra boost of like, bro, you got this. Like just one
That's
more, just
it.
push that thing out. Yeah.
What
Or
a
even just assisting them to, push out that last rep.
dude, this is the perfect analogy, Cameron. Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you go to the gym before working out with this person? Like,
Yeah.
did you okay, do you still go to the gym even though you don't necessarily meet and go with this person?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So here's what I'm going to suggest. You were inspired to show up to the gym.
Hmm.
You didn't need this person or anyone else. That
Yeah.
came from within. But
Yeah.
but when you're there at the gym and things are getting tough, a little external motivation did a lot of goodness for you.
Yeah.
I love it. But if you didn't have the motivation, are you going to stop going? It's the
Yeah.
same way in which, like, I think I've shared this with you, Cameron, and I'm happy to share with everyone else. My coach is having me do 100 burpees a day for time. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
What he's trying to help me do, because, hey, coaches have coaches. Let's make sure that's abundantly clear. And if your coach doesn't have a coach, I would question that a little bit, right?
Hmm.
Coaches
Hmm.
have coaches. My coach, to help me even expand my willpower, to expand my ability to grind, specifically has me doing 100 burpees a day for time, meaning as quickly as I can get them done.
Hmm.
And the idea there to expand your ability to have willpower or to grind or to do things that are hard is to number one, do something that you're not good at and something that you don't like.
Hmm.
I hate burpees and I'm slow. Okay. And even as I've gotten faster, I still don't love them. I don't think that'll ever change. Burpees suck. Okay. For me.
Hmm.
So my inspiration to be better, to grow in this way professionally, personally, in all aspects of my life is what makes me show up every day and do these burpees. Okay.
Hmm.
100 a day for time. But when I show up, I have music on. And sometimes when the right Kanye song comes on or, Rage Against the Machine or whatever it is,
Hmm.
that gives me a little boost of motivation. Yeah. Sometimes I get them done faster. Sometimes I'm able to push a little bit harder. But
Hmm.
I've also gone and done it with no music at all.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to know, like, if you show up to do the thing, that's usually coming from a place of inspiration. But to
Yeah.
get a
Yeah.
little extra juice on top of it, in the middle of it, to push harder, to get that one more rep, to do that one more set, nothing wrong with motivation. But if you only relied on the external motivation, that
Mm.
means if I didn't happen to hear Kanye this morning, or if Rage Against the Machine didn't happen to play on the radio, I may not show up to do my burpees.
Hmm.
Don't let yourself be in that place. You have to have inspiration to drive you. Motivation is awesome, but don't let it replace your inspiration, is the idea.
And so, do you have any like final words for that real estate agent that is thinking that, like, man, like I need an office, and they may even be considering switching brokerages just because they don't, have an office.
Yeah. Or they want a closer office because they don't go
Mm.
into the one that's far away or anything like that.
Hmm.
Look, the way of the future is about building a more efficient and effective business. What
Hmm.
I've found when it comes to having a virtual model, okay, again, we are cloud based. The platform in which we run the alliance on does not have an office. We are everywhere all at once,
Hmm.
which some hear that and they're like, oh, you don't have an office. Like, no, you're hearing that wrong. Number one, we don't have a physical office, so we're no longer capped in terms of geography. And the fact that we have a meta office that exists in the cloud means that the leadership, the training, all the goodness, the collaboration, the sheer number of agents that I can have accountability with becomes unlimited.
Hmm.
So I would say if an agent is out there struggling with the idea of not having an office, there are a couple of questions to ask around that. Number one, do you have inspiration? Or are you looking for it? Because that's different than an office. And guess what? The office might give you motivation until it doesn't anymore. Then what are you going to have to do? Switch offices. Guess what? New boost of motivation. Well, that's great until it wears off. Then what do you have to do? Move offices again. And I'm describing some people's careers, Cameron. They
Hmm.
just don't know why. It's just like, man, I went there and at first it was awesome. And then I kind of lost its steam. So I went here and now it's good. And now it's starting to lose its steam. Look, You don't need to keep restarting your real estate career at different brokerages and restarting your branding. What maybe you need to do is work with a coach that can help you identify how to make changes so that goes away forever. All right, with some inspiration. And I'm not saying, I really want people to understand, I'm not saying like, oh, just be inspired. Sometimes that takes a coach to help you find what drives you, to help you to clarify what that looks like, to help you to connect with it consistently in a way that actually sparks inspiration. Okay. I'm not just going to be one of those Hallmark guys. I don't believe in that crap. Just
Mhm.
be inspired, because the one question I always ask to anyone who tells me what to do, how? And if they can't answer that question, they're just reading Hallmark cards to you. Okay. Here at the Alliance, we have coaches that are specialists in helping people in all of these different areas. So when you ask the question, how, they will be able to prescribe to you exactly what to do to start moving forward in that way. Okay. So that's the first place I'd start with. The second is, let's really start to leverage what the future has in store for us and what technology has allowed us, which is to uncap this geographically confined and like this um, place of scarcity in terms of who I get to work with and learn from. Like, embrace abundance. Does that mean there might be a little bit of a change? Yes. It means that you might have far more ways to engage and collaborate and learn from and with other agents, but it might just look like this a little bit more. And if you're like, man, I'm missing some human connection, great. On your calendar as part of your business strategy, let's find you a couple of cocktail hours or other networking events so that you can either A, find a bunch of more consumers you're building relationships with, or B, a bunch of local real estate professionals outside of your office so that it can ultimately help your consumer. Because when you have better relationships with more agents, guess who that helps? Your buyers and your sellers.
Mhm.
Leverage all the tools so that way your real estate business is one of the future, not one of the dying past.